Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Monday night live stream. So happy that everybody's here. Tonight's going to be a lot of fun, I promise you. This is a topic that I've been wanting to speak of, and I found someone perfect to talk about this subject, and I'll explain kind of in a minute. But first, for those that don't know, I finally got a Mastertronic. It took a lot of wheeling and dealing and a lot of begging on my part to get one. Unfortunately, I haven't even opened it yet. It's still sitting in my garage. I am looking forward to putting it in, of course. Hopefully, you also got to look at the Hydros video that I just posted. If you haven't, I highly recommend you watch it, even if you're not into reptiles. It's an interesting video about how I'm using Hydros for something other than a reef aquarium. So it's good to see everybody in here, all the usual suspects. And also, one of my usual suspects is my guest tonight. So, my guest tonight just moved, so I thought this would be a perfect topic for both of us. So, I am going to introduce you now. Bring on in Glenn. Glenn, what's going on, my man?
Hey guys,
It's
how
good
are
old
ya?
Glenn. You guys might have seen him in the chat quite a few times making fun of me. So, this is Glenn, everybody.
What's up,
What's going
guys?
on?
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Glenn. I don't know much about you. You said earlier you're from Alabama, which is interesting because of this evening. But um,
Roll Tide.
so tell me a little bit about yourself. What you got you into reefing? You know, the normal stuff. How you found me. I always love to know how people found me. Um,
Okay. I started reefing. Well, backtrack. I am a dentist, and when I was in dental school, I thought I wanted to have the bachelor pad with the saltwater tank and the coral and all that. So I had little reef tanks starting basically in 2009, so 12 years ago ish.
okay.
Um, and that tank was just a simple old 45-gallon just bow front tank, and I had no clue what I was doing, and nor did anybody else 12 years ago. I mean, it was kind of just there's a lot's happened since then, and that tank it basically was a fish only tank by the time it was all said and done, but it had some really cool fish in it, which was cool. And then when a couple of moves happened, and then I was in Gainesville, Florida during Hurricane Irma in 2017. And
Oh
before
boy.
the hurricane came, I downloaded a whole bunch of videos on YouTube so I could just watch them because I knew we were going to be out of power for like a week. And one of those was that documentary on Netflix called how was that? Coral. What was it called? Remember that documentary?
I don't know. There's a lot.
It was the one about
Well,
the it was like getting hotter and hotter, and they were videotaping the corals. I can't remember what it's called.
oh,
Somebody in the chat probably knows.
someone in the chat will probably figure it out. I don't
Chasing
remember.
coral. There you go, Joe. That's it.
That's
Chasing
it.
coral. Saw that, and I was like, oh man, I want to get back into you know the the reefing again. And so I took all the wood that I had used to board up the house from Hurricane Irma and built a stand. And then the first thing I did after the hurricane, I went to Petco and bought a 55-gallon tank to go on that stand. And then I started watching all the BRS TV videos, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it right. I'm going to have an actual, reef tank. And so Ryan and all the bulk reef videos basically got me to where I am now. And then when I moved from Gainesville to Tennessee, I was really deep into it at that point, and that's when I started to build a fish room. Started to just just trying to culture phytoplankton and breed clownfish and do all the different brine shrimps, all kinds of just trying to
Oh
do as
wow.
much as I could in the hobby to get it going.
So you've been doing it for a
And then
while, huh?
I guess, but I
Yeah.
feel like I've been in the hobby for 10 years, but I've been reefing for 4 years, is kind of what I
Okay.
say. Because I didn't really know what the heck I was doing, didn't really care until like 4 years ago. And then I really got into it. But like I said, I feel like most people, even if they've been in the hobby for 20 years, probably are in the same boat because there's been so many things that have happened the past 5 years that have just
Right.
progressed the hobby just so much. I mean,
Oh yeah.
everything you can think, even all the Apex stuff, LEDs in general. I mean, it's just crazy the things that have happened in 5 years. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot
my
different.
first tank, well, not my first tank, I'm sorry. When I got my big tank started, I had power compact lights. For those that don't know what power compact lights are, I guess they're kind of similar to fluorescent lights in a garage. Um, they're you had to replace them like every 3 months. I remember they were really expensive, but that's what I started with, power compact lights. And now lighting just in general has. I remember when I got my first LEDs, they were the Eco Exotic strips, I think they were called. They were kind of the first LEDs out there, and they wouldn't grow coral at all. And then people started making some better stuff. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
My first
so
LEDs, I bought some off Amazon. The I remember they were some type of black box. They weren't the Vivar Spectra. It was like Phil's on or something like that. And ended up taking them apart and wiring them together and trying to hook them up to a VDM. But I didn't know the VDM was 0 to 10, and the
right.
Phil's on were 1 to 10, and it was just a nightmare. But that was
Oh
my first
yeah.
experience with all the LEDs.
Yeah. So a dentist, huh? I don't know if you know, my wife is a dental hygienist. So there you go.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So
Yeah,
uh
we're nerds.
yeah, I don't like going to the dentist, but that's another story. So anyway, so today we're going to talk about your move, huh? So you just moved. I'm presuming you moved your entire setup, is from what I was kind of
Everything. I sent you a
understanding.
picture of my crawl space that I dug out into a fish room. Did I see the before and after pictures of that?
I
It
don't
was
believe you
basically
did. I think you
it was
sent
basically
me
just the
your
crawl
old
space,
picture.
and I dug it out and built a fish room into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Let me see if I
tried
can
to
get
move
it.
everything, but there's no room at our new house for all that. So now it's just kind of shoved into the garage.
I've been having some issues with showing people stuff on this lately.
Oh, it's all
Okay.
good. I mean, you ain't got to show it. I was just asking.
Yeah, I got something here. Hopefully this is the one you wanted me to put up.
Ooh,
Uh,
we'll see.
let's see. We got here, and then I think it's this picture right here. Let's hope. Come on, computer. Yeah, it's doing it again. I can't,
Oh, it's all good.
unfortunately. It won't
Well,
upload
yeah.
folders. Maybe because I'm doing it
So
live. I don't know.
what I moved was my display tank was the water box 220.6. So it's a 6 foot tank, 2 by 2 by 6, basically. And then in the fish room, I had a low boy frag tank and two 100-gallon brute horse troughs,
Oh wow.
and then the water box sump, the ATO that goes with it, and then I probably got like 6 or 8 quarantine just 20-gallon long tanks.
A lot going on
So
over there.
trying to move all that, yeah,
So, where
it
did you
wasn't
move
fun.
from? Like, how far away was it?
So from when I moved from Gainesville to Chattanooga 2 years ago, that was, I don't know how far that is, 10 hours ish, I'm guessing. I can't remember. And then
Hmm.
from Chattanooga to Huntsville, where I'm at now, Huntsville, Alabama, that was about 2 hours essentially. So it was a lot easier on the
Okay.
fish, but I had 50 times as much coral
Oh
and
wow.
everything else to move. So it was a nightmare.
So did you have, I've been talking to a few people about this before. Did you have your other home already ready to go so you could have set up your tank prior to moving everything?
Yes, and so
Okay.
that's like the number one thing I would recommend for anybody who's moving is if you have the ability.
Hello? I think we are back, people. My internet went down for about a minute. We'll have to wait for Glenn to come back. Sorry, folks. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have to wait for people to get back in here. Yeah, it was my internet. Somehow my internet just conked out for a second. All right, so while we're waiting for, yeah, stream issues after the network episode. So while we're waiting for Glenn, let's see. There he is. Well, sort of. I got two Glens. Now I got one Glenn. There he is. You're
Dude,
back.
what what you are Reef Automation and you can't even get this right. That's so embarrassing. This happens to you every single stream. You got to find a new job. I'm so tired that you have a I mean, this is right up your wheelhouse and you can't get it right. It's YouTube.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, too bad. All right. So you were talking, and then everything kind
Mm-mm.
of went haywire. But we're back. My internet
Yeah,
just
now I
like
can't even hear
conked
you,
out. So weird. You can't hear me?
dude. You sound like you're I mean, come on.
Let's see. Agree, Glenn. Oh man, now you got some fans.
See? Yeah, Derek.
They can all hear me
It's amazing
fine.
you get work.
It's
It's
amazing I get
amazing you find
work.
work.
Anyway, where were we? Moving. You were talking about moving.
I can't even hear. I can barely hear you.
Really? Let me let
Okay.
me close that one out. Let me let me do. I wish he'd find a new hobby. Who the hell said this? Oh, I see what he said. I can't hear you, dude. I don't know what happened. You are gone for some reason. I don't know. Some of this funny stuff on the stream. Let me do this. Let me sync you over here.
You muted me. You muted me.
There we go. Now you're good.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you muted me. Thanks a lot. You
yeah,
freaking muted me.
yeah, that's what I did.
Thanks a lot, dude. Making
Okay.
making me look dumb on your okay, okay, okay.
All right, get back to what you were saying.
All right. All right.
Let's pull everything back.
All right. What was I saying?
You were saying that you recommend people probably have a setup already ready to go.
Thank you.
And
Yes, that's
then
exactly right.
and then everything went to hell.
All right. So if you're able to get into your new house before you move, that's ideal, obviously. And that's what it all depends on the size of your tank and what you're trying to move. If you got a 300-gallon tank full of coral, which is basically what I had, it's going to be a process, and that process ain't happening overnight. It's going to take a long, long time, and so it depends on what you want at your new place. Do you want the same exact reef? Do you want to use the same rock? Do you want a bigger reef? Do you want to reboot without pests? Do you want to reboot without ick, velvet? Do you want to just what do you want out of your system? And that will all um, that everything's kind of dependent about what your goals are when you move. So for me, I just wanted to just move my tank. I did a really good job of no pests going from at my new house when I moved from Gainesville to Chattanooga. So there's only one thing I don't like verminated snails. I don't have the like huge tubey ones, but I had like the little bitty like
Annoying
ones that you can
ones.
kind of see growing in acros or whatever. I didn't want that, so I was kind of okay just you know killing off some rock and keeping the colonies if I could. Um, but in the end, I for sure started running out of time and started freaking out and stressing, having to close on the house in Chattanooga and having to get into the new house. And by the time it was all said and done, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm okay with the verminated snails. I don't care. I'll fool with it
Hmm.
later. I'd rather keep the verminated snails and keep all my corals than freak out, do something dumb, and lose everything. I mean, that's just not worth it. My fish were fine. I've quarantined them, and I think transferred all my fish, so I knew they were fine. So it just depends on what you want to do and what you want to move for what your goals are at your new house. So if you have, if you have the option to get into your new house and to do it, just move your tank straight over, you're going to want to move. You're going to want to set up the tank that you want at your new house early. Like as soon as you close on your new house, put that tank in there. And what I had thought about doing was using the horse troughs as my tank at the new house and just keep my system going at my old house. But I think it's better, and people will disagree, it's fine. I think it's probably better to make the horse trough at your old house and your tank at your new house, because the stress from you're going to keep the same water in the horse trough. So going from a 6-foot tank to a horse trough, you got to rearrange everything, and everything's going to be freaking out because of light or new habitat for the home. So it's going to be easier if that water is the same as well, as opposed to going to a new tank, new habitat, and also new water. So if you can set up with the tank you want at your new house first, I think that's the best way to do it.
So I had to do something kind of similar where I had to transfer there's two things I had to do. My 300-gallon tank that I have in my living room was starting to get a crack in it, so I had to replace it. And this was probably 6 or 7 years ago, I think. And we had to remove all of the fish, all of the everything, and put it in. Basically, what we did put it in horse troughs, and I had it in my guest room running for. It took a while to get the new tank out, put the new tank in.
Right.
It probably took 4 or 5 days, and all I had running in there, guys. Again, this was a fish-only tank for this particular situation. All I had running in there was a power head. That's it, live rock and a power head, and I didn't do anything else. And they all did great. And then I put them all back.
Temperature?
Yep, and they all did great. Now, on the other hand, when I had to move coral, that was a whole nother fiasco. First of all, I was upgrading. So I was upgrading from a 50 to 100. And obviously we have now double the water, right? So what I ended up doing is I ended up setting up both tanks simultaneously. And the one tank I put in 50 gallons because it's 100 gallons. So I put 50 gallons in. And then I slowly would acclimate the coral tank in the trough by switching water. So I do that for about I think I did it for about 6 hours. Like every 5 minutes, I would take a cup and just keep swapping the water. Now, obviously, when you're 2 hours away, you can't really do that. But in this case, that's how I was able to transfer everything without any problems at that point. But I think, like you said, I think the most important thing is to have a well-established tank in the new house at least a month before. I think if you can have a well-established tank in there, maybe even get some, like you said, some small damsels or clownfish to get the bacteria started in that tank. And I mean, again, depending on how far away you guys are, if let's say you're only like 30 minutes from your house, I would recommend like maybe every day or every couple days, like swapping a couple gallons, just putting a couple gallons and swapping. And that way your fish that are at home are getting used to the new water, and obviously the new water is getting used to the old water.
So I think that matters a little bit less than the way you're probably describing it. I think what matters more so is testing the water and making sure, especially for coral, making sure that your alk and calcium and magnesium is somewhat close.
Yeah.
I don't think the fish are going to care as much. I mean, hardly any. As long as the salinity is probably close to the same, they're not going to care. I mean, from what I've experienced, at least, they're not going to freaking care. But the corals will. And, if you're going from I think corals, it matters a lot more going from low to high alk than from high to low. What?
How do we get these idiots on my channel? Unbelievable. Sorry.
Oh, you don't want to go to loveface.xyz?
No.
They'll satisfy your wishes online. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
Um,
Um, well, so that brings me to my next point. So you already mentioned that about this establishing a new, having everything set up. I was more so, and I was talking about the tank. I was more so just talking about the physical tank. If when you're talking about a new system, I mean, you got to start cycling that rock well in advance. I've had a one of those brutes, like a 55-gallon brute trash can,
mhm.
full of rock, cycling for a year now, just to
Oh
have it
wow.
going, just in case, because I didn't know what to expect in our move. And so now I got all that rock that's basically ready to go, just sitting in my garage. But another thing I was going to say was when you're moving your new tank is set up your apex on your new system ASAP, especially if it's been established on your old system for so long. I didn't do that, and I should have done that. That's one thing that I'm kicking myself about. I kept thinking I want to keep everything going like I wanted to in my old house first, and then I'll move it all at once, and I'll set my apex up at the same time. I'll set my trident up, my dose up. I'll set it all up at the same time. Well, that was dumb because then I was taking water from my new house to my old house to test it, and then I don't know what's going on with that water. Whereas I got a pretty good idea. I mean, I know I'm dosing like 220 or 240 mils a day of calcium to my reef. That's going to be fine for another month or so, just doing the same
Mhm.
thing over and over and over again. It's been set up. So move the apex to the new system and go ahead and get it going and testing it. That way, when you do move your coral, you can test it from hour one, as far as your, DKH and all that. And I think
So
that's
this
going to be the
guy,
most important thing.
yeah, I
Go
totally
ahead.
agree. I didn't think about the Apex till you mentioned that. I can see that being a struggle, especially if you have a lot of stuff. Me having 40 modules or something, it'd be tough. I mean, it'd be really tough if I had to move
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Someone
In
had
my
asked a
in my
really
head
good question here. I'm
in
gonna
my head it was
interrupt
all
you
going to
real
happen
quick.
the same day, and it just didn't.
How do you regulate temperature when transporting fish? I mean,
Great
you can
question.
know. I mean, you can get an inverter right in your car and just plug a heater in if you're worried.
Yep.
I mean, what did you do out of curiosity?
All right. So here's what I did, and I think it depends on where you are in the country and how many fish are moving and all that stuff as well. But here's what I did. I basically turned my car on and I set my temperature to 78 degrees, and I had a digital, meat thermometer thing that you can just shoot out, and
Hmm.
test the temperature with. And I bagged up everything and I put it in my car, and I just kept on checking it. And I probably had my car running for 6 hours as I was bagging stuff up.
Oh
And
wow.
I did my fish dead last. My fish was the very last thing. And I just kept that car at 78 degrees. And then when I left, I only had, 2.5 hours to drive.
Hmm.
And I just kept on testing it with that laser thermometer over and over again to make sure it was close. When you're doing that, though, the thing to think about is anything right in front of the vent is going to get hit with 100 degrees. So you got to really be careful about where
Right.
your vents are in your car. So, because I remember testing one cooler. What?
I think you have a friend on here. I'm watching the comments.
Uh,
Sean Sinclair, ring a bell?
no, who's that?
I don't know. He says he goes to you for being a dentist. I guess he said he
Uh,
knows you. I don't
he's probably just one of my patients or something. I don't know.
know.
He sounds cool. But anyway,
J Fusion is asking
uh,
about Airstone. I mean, if you put enough oxygen in those bags, they'll be fine. I mean,
yeah.
guys,
So it depends.
when they ship coral and fish, overnight, those corals are or those fish are in bags for 20 hours, so they're
But I
usually pretty
think that
good.
when they ship them from a facility like that, they're injecting with oxygen,
That's
and
correct.
I, I think they have pure oxygen. I didn't have pure oxygen, and I even called the LFS in Chattanooga, and I asked them like, "What do you think?" And they basically are like, "Yeah, if you're under 10 hours, you're probably okay." And I was only
Hmm.
2, but I didn't really know when I was going to bag it up and then driving over there, so I just made sure that the fish dead last,
Hmm.
and just got as much oxygen as I could. And I put my fish in just gallon Ziploc bags. I almost ordered some of those big bags off Amazon, but in the end, I was like, I think they're going to be fine. And I had some tangs that were probably like 5 inches or
Hmm.
more, and they were fine in a gallon Ziploc bag. Didn't put any Airstone in there, didn't inject oxygen, but I was only going 2.5 hours.
Yeah, my concern about air stones is they'll raise your pH. So you can, fish don't like real large swings of pH. So while the Airstone's a good idea, I still think, you know, water movement is a better idea. I think if your car's moving and the water's going back and forth and it's in a big bin and it's sealed, that's gonna generate oxygen, I don't know. That's a good question. These are really good questions because thankfully, I have lived in my house for 20 years. I've never had to move a fish tank. I hope I never have to do what you had to do. Let's just put it that way. And you've seen my system.
So
I would shoot
yeah.
myself.
So another thing, and I got a list of things here. I can just ramble off just random things, but something else that was I didn't. Sometimes you got to ask people who aren't reefers kind of out of the box about like, hey, how should I do this kind of thing? What would you do? And I was asking my dad, and he actually came with me to Chattanooga because I had a whole bunch of stuff left over after I made my first big move. I had a whole bunch of things left over. Basically, I had these big rock structure pillars just slammed full of coral on the structure, and those rock structures, they wouldn't fit in like a brute trash can or anything like that. And so I was just kind of like, I don't want to chop all the coral off here and individually bag them. Like, what should I do? And he was like, hey, why don't you just put that entire horse trough in the back seat of your car, and then we'll put the big rock structures back in that big brute trash or that big horse trough. And so we
Boy.
basically emptied out the entire horse trough, 100-gallon Rubbermaid horse trough, and put the big rock structures in my truck, and then filled that back up while it's in my truck. Didn't even cover it up, like, with any kind of like saran wrap or anything, and filled it about halfway, so a bunch of corals were just out of the water exposed. But by the time you're driving around, there's going to be enough water to hit it to keep it
Yeah,
wet, and they all lived from that.
that's
And
great.
they're just basically coral just in the air the whole time.
That's great. DJ Mike Fury had an interesting question. What would you do if you had to move about 2,000 miles away? If you had to move that far away, I would just say screw it. I would just say sell the tank to someone locally, sell your corals, sell your fish, someone locally, start over. I think moving cross country, a whole tank would be really, really tricky.
Yeah.
To get everything alive in that amount of time would be really tough. I really believe that. Unless the only thing I can think of is unless you were to trust someone that knows how to ship corals and knows how to ship fish and do it overnight on a plane, then you already had an established tank at your new place. I think it could work.
Yeah. Making the RO, the new tank, takes so long that it's going to be very hard to have your coral with you in a bag and then get to your new house and then put it in like water, because you're going to have to use the water you use to transport it, and it's going to be full of chemical warfare. You dump all that water into a bucket.
Yeah.
So I would say reboot at 2,000 miles for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what you mentioned earlier is really important. I don't know if people caught what you said earlier about the concept of rebooting. If you have a tank that you have been struggling with, or you have a tank that has vermitid snails or has aptasia or has something in it, I don't think it's worth to move all that to a new tank. I think it's worth just getting a new tank at that point. I don't. If you're moving, why would you want to struggle with that continuously where you're already struggling with it? I would just start over at that point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And it could also be a blessing too, as far as like trying to move like colonies of, especially SPS colonies. Like, they just don't ship well when you put a huge colony in a bag.
mm-hmm,
And every single colony I had, I even like kind of played with it some. I'd put like a whole bunch of frags or just a huge piece. I put it in a gallon Ziploc bag, and then I take a little piece and I put it in like a quart size Ziploc bag, and then like another piece, a few branches. And every time this smaller one lived, and by the time it was all done, I would throw away the colonies because they're just too crappy.
yeah, I mean that's another good point. If you have a large colony, right, it might be in your best interest to just frag a piece, and just bring the frag and sell the rest to people locally.
Yep.
Because I mean, what's
Or
the
give it
point,
away.
right? What's the point of keeping a huge colony when you can just grow out a whole new colony, right? I don't
Yep.
I
Just,
don't.
I mean, the point is you ain't got to wait 3 years. But the negative side of that is you kill it, and you're probably going to kill it.
Right.
So just restart with an inch.
Let me just
I mean,
mention to the stream, guys, I got the contest up and running again. It wasn't working for a while, so if you want to go ahead and enter, if you have not, I haven't announced what the prize is yet, but we will do that at the end. So I just wanted to mention that. Let me see. I'm looking if there's any other
something
good
else I did was
questions.
I bought a bandsaw for my LPS because I was thinking I had like some huge, like, 20 head plus torch corals, and I cut those into like 4 or less heads, and they shipped really well like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the thing.
And
I
I
would.
don't think I could have done that with the the bone cutters. I don't think I could have cut those heads with that.
And fish, I mean, this is an interesting question because there's a lot of people out there, I guess I'm kind of included with this, that have sentimental feelings towards their fish, and I understand. There's people that have specific fish they've had for a long time, and they don't want to lose them, and I totally get it. Um, that's the only thing I could see that might be difficult for people is how am I going to move my precious fish that I've had for years and years and years. Again, if it's that important, I would say go to a fish store, have them bag it, and ship it. Like many companies do already, and then you don't have to worry so much about it.
Yeah. There's a fish store in Gainesville when I moved, and I was just always there, and they're super nice. And they're like, hey, when you move, bring them by here first, and we'll inject them with oxygen before you go. And I didn't do that, but I mean, sometimes you can just go to your fish store and just have them do it for you.
I got a question here from Lee, and I don't really know how to answer this. Are you buying a coral there, Lee? Lee says, I'm going to Vegas next month. Think it would be better to bring coral on plane with me or have them overnight it. So are you buying a coral there? Because if you're buying a coral there, yeah, bring it on the plane with you. I mean, they make these little coral boxes that I actually have because I'm going to be going to Orlando in March, and I'm going to hopefully buy some coral when I'm there. But yeah, that's what I would do. Just bring a coral carrier. They allow them on the plane. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
How
How
much does a
much does a professional
professional?
reef tank mover usually charge? I don't know, but man,
I've never heard of a
probably a
professional
lot.
reef tank mover. Is that a
Probably a
new
lot.
profession? Because I can tell you if that's a profession, they must be shooting themselves every day. Oh, here's another
Another thing I was
fun
going to say
person.
is when I was bagging those corals and I was using Ziploc bags, the Ziplocs worked well. I thought I was going to have something going on clever with the hefty bags that had the zip thing that you like pull all the way across it.
Hmm.
But those leaked. So don't get
Oh
that. Get
yeah,
the regular Ziploc.
definitely,
It snap.
definitely will leak. Excited for this Bitcoin giveaway? I've never seen some of these people, so these either are really new people to the stream or they're all your buddies, Glenn. I think they're all your buddies. That's my guess here.
I don't know any of these people.
Really?
Yeah.
Glennard showed me his coral once. It was beautiful. Kelly Young, you don't know who that is?
I don't know any of these, especially, man, some of these people. Like Alan Prale. I don't know who that is.
What's your recommendation for eyewear for the hobby? Sean
Hey, that's
again?
actually a good question. That's a good question because I had some was straight up squirt at me. I mean, just straight up, just squirt all over me.
Really?
And luckily, I didn't get my eye. But yeah, they were just Be careful with that for sure.
Well, reef hobbyists, if they're trolling me, we have some mods on here that aren't doing their job. Um, I don't have time for that. Glenn's usually the only one that I have to watch trolling me, so this is new for me. Let's
Now,
see.
Timothy Cole Productions. I have shown him the wonders below, so I actually do know him. I've shown him the wonders below.
Was that right?
Yeah. Let's see here. Another thing is if you can move when the temperature is good outside, like 75, 80-degree temperature, that's going to be so much easier. So
Hmm.
much easier. I mean, you could basically just throw your fish in a trash can in the back of a truck and head that way and be fine. I
Right.
mean, that's going to be so much easier.
Yeah, here in
And that's what I wanted
Arizona,
to do. But
you got to be really careful because again, during the summer here, it's 115. So let's see.
yeah.
I'm looking at some other
Something else thing about
questions.
it is heaters. I didn't have enough heaters, especially because the temperature drops so drastically here, and I just couldn't keep up with the temperature. So I had to borrow a heater from my friend in Chattanooga,
I'm looking at one
and
thing
then
real
RO.
quick here.
Make a lot more RO than you think you need as well. Another thing is you got to think about the warfare of your coral, and monopora plates, they slime a ton, and just kind of know what you can and can't put in the same area, especially if you're gonna take a whole rock with you. And the same goes for fish. Some fish, I mean, I'd recommend not feeding fish at all for 2 days before you ship them, especially if you're going a long way, because they will just poop all in the bag, and next thing they're going
Ammonia.
to poison themselves.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I wouldn't feed the fish 48 hours before you leave. But I wasn't going that far, so I wasn't too worried about it.
I'm looking at something else here. Let me see. So tell me about your Apex Fiasco. I'm just curious. What did you experience when moving your controller from one place to the other?
So I didn't do anything you're supposed to do as far as like shutting stuff down. I unplugged it, I put it in a box, and I came to a new place. I couldn't remember how to set anything back up again with like the internet and all that. I've never liked Apex's software or user interface. I know to you it's probably second nature. To me, I
Hmm.
remember setting it up. I know the icons I got to hit to get to a certain place. I don't know what half the icons do. I just know what I got to do to get to certain areas in the app itself. And so to set up a new internet connection and connect to Fusion was a nightmare because I couldn't remember how to do anything. And so trying to hit
I
all the little
see.
buttons to get things going places, I didn't know what to do and I couldn't figure it out. And so finally, I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to reset the entire Apex from the EB832. Or maybe it was the brain. I can't remember. But I got a
Probably
paper
from the
clip out and I
brain.
just reset it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And when I reset it, somehow it like auto started to try to find new Wi-Fi, and it just brought it up on my phone. And it just did it itself. So
Hmm.
I don't know how I did it, but that's basically what I did.
Yep,
That's
I
when I
know what
that's
that
when I
is.
messaged you, and I was like, "Hey, how do I reset this Wi-Fi?" Because I had no clue how to do it.
Yeah, so yeah, there's probably a tutorial there. But
I looked
basically,
for it, I couldn't find it.
no, what I'm saying is I probably could have done a tutorial for people that are moving because
Oh
it
yeah,
is
yeah,
different when you're trying to take um, a system from one place to the other. There's kind of a way that you have to do it. Um, and basically, yeah, you did what you're supposed to do. You have to hit the reset button. When you hit the reset button, not hold the reset button. When you hit the reset button, it goes into Wi-Fi mode basically, which allows you to connect to it and set it up. That's it.
that's what happened.
Yeah. So I think you
But
got
the Trident,
lucky
I
by.
didn't do the shutdown Trident or anything. I just moved the Trident and just set it back up. And as soon as it cut back on again, I just did a combination test, and it just kept working.
So what the shutdown procedure does, for people that don't know, is it just drains all the lines out. That's what it does.
Yeah,
So if you are going to be moving your Trident and you're going to be an hour away or 2 hours away, there's no reason to do a shutdown procedure. Now, if it's going to be stored for like a week, then yeah, I wouldn't allow salt water and all that stuff that's in those lines to remain in there. So that's what the shutdown procedure does. Is it just drains all the lines for you, essentially.
yeah.
Um, Let me look. Do you name your fish? Yeah, sometimes I do name my fish. I think a lot of people name their fish. This got stupid. I'm not seeing a lot of questions here. So we're at about 45 minutes. So we're gonna move on a little bit. I wanted to talk about moving, but you said you had some stuff you wanted to ask me. So I want to give you the platform to ask me whatever you'd like, Glenn.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How come? Why are you so biased? You're so biased. It just kind of ruins your entire just vibe, your whole channel, because everybody just expects you to just be pro Apex.
Yeah.
And that's really, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair because what if you're a hydros lover? If I love hydros, I can't even come to your channel because all I'm going to see is just you're just going to just bleed orange everywhere, and it's going to be hard to,
Uh,
you're just a fanboy.
all right. So I've explained this before, but I'll do it again because Glenn asked. It's a very simple explanation. Apex has been around for a long time, right? If we're just talking about Apex, let's just go with Apex bias right now. Um, I've been using Apex since roughly 2005-ish, somewhere in that range. I learned how to program it a long time ago. I'm obviously a programmer by trade, so it's pretty natural to me. And there wasn't really any heavy hitters around, you know. Then again, there was and there is GHL, and I gave GHL a chance. I really did. I used it. I spent tons of hours on my videos, did all kinds of stuff for it, and I realized that the GHL is just not great at what I needed it to do. I mean, it was difficult to use, and I didn't want as a Reef Automation channel to recommend a product that I think people are going to just have a lot of trouble with, right? And since I have so much knowledge on Apex, I thought it was right to start my channel out with showing people how to use Neptune because I knew how to do it, right? So yeah, there was probably some bias there because I own Apex. I own 40 modules of it, and I know how to use it. So I can rely on, at least in the beginning of my channel, I can rely on a lot of my subscribers coming to me for assistance for Apex. And that's why I started the channel, because I figured I could help a lot of people. Then now we have Hydros, right? We have other products that have come around. I've given Hydros a lot of what's the word? That was not the sentence I was trying to say. I've given Hydros a chance, and I think I've explained in a few streams and some of my videos that I really believe that the Hydros is a great product. So my bias towards Neptune has now become, what can I recommend to someone, either Hydros or Neptune, right? And I think that both of them suit people's needs depending on what they need, right? Also, how much they want to spend. So I think my bias has depreciated over time, just due to being able to not only see what Hydros can do for you, but also seeing a lot of the people that come on my stream that are Hydros people asking tons of questions and them having so much enjoyment with their Hydros, right? So I don't know if I
But I
explained
mean,
myself.
there's, I mean, you don't have that many people coming in here asking about hydros. I feel like most people are just straight up Apex people here.
No, I get a lot of people that ask about Hydros. Seriously. I get tons of PMs about Hydros. And now that I'm
About
selling it,
PM.
yeah, now that I'm selling it also, um, oh, here comes Love Face again. Uh, now that I'm selling it, I have to be able to support it, right? So I have to learn it. I have to be able to support it. I have to be able to answer people's questions, right? Um, so I hope that explains it. I think my bias has changed over time. I will admit that in the beginning I was a lot more Neptune oriented, but then again, there wasn't even Hydros when I started my channel, right? So
Yeah. Adam Cautant, he says he has a hydros. He likes it a lot. I'm interested to know, like, has he had it for a long time or what? Because I feel like no one on here has hydros.
I think you'd be
Maybe it's just me.
surprised. I think I've already counted about 4 people I know for a fact have Hydros, just in that sentence you just made. I know who they are if they want to say they have Hydros, I mean. Um, but yeah, I try to be unbiased as much as I can. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to tell people, I think this is good, I think this is bad, without having some bias towards the product that's good. You know, I mean, it's impossible. Some guy was telling me to stop wearing Apex shirts, right? Well, I got a black shirt on today. So, longtime Hydros user, had it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't Captain America end Hydros years ago? Man, you guys are having too much fun tonight. I think Glenn, you brought all your buddies in here. That's what I think happened.
I don't have
Uh,
hardly any buddies, honestly.
oh, yeah, okay. Uh, but
Hmm.
remember, I'm running Hydros, and I'm running Apex. And if I can come up with other ways to use my Hydros, I'm going to share it with everybody. Unfortunately, and I've said this in my past streams, for me to take down 40 modules of my Neptune, right, and move it over to Hydros is not cost effective for me. I don't get this stuff for free,
Right.
so it's just not cost effective for me. If it was cost effective, there would be a definite decision to be made whether I want to switch everything from Apex to Hydros or maybe do half and half. But it would just be so expensive. It just wouldn't be worth it for me. So
That's where I'm at now too. It's like I'm already embedded in the Apex ecosystem. So even if I wanted to do something with the Hydros, why would I? If I had a tank in my office, I wouldn't do a Hydros then because I've already got all the Apex stuff at my house. So like I'm kind of stuck now.
right.
I feel like most people are probably like that too.
But and I'm going to say this now, and I'll say it for the foreseeable future. Hydros is making some really great products, and I can tell you, many people that aren't programming minded, similar to you, you had mentioned earlier that when you look at the dashboard, it's intimidating and you're not sure how things go. And I can see the Hydros being a winner in that case because it's so much easier. However, and I mentioned this also, I think in last stream or the stream before, it's difficult to make the Hydros do more advanced things. So that's you have to you have to weigh your options. Do you want to do a lot of advanced stuff? Then you need an Apex. If you don't want to do a lot of advanced stuff, then you get a Hydros. That's how I look at it. Now that will change.
Yeah.
That
I
will
just think it's too.
change.
I just think it's like it's too late because Apex is everybody knows Apex and it's been around, it's stood the test of time. Whereas Hydros, it just seems so new still that it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what would you get if you're brand new to the hobby? What would you get? And I would say Apex because you know what you're getting yourself into.
You have a good point. I mean, again, I think it comes down to cost at that point for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I've made I've made it very public that the Hydros can be more expensive than the Apex. I have mentioned this multiple times. It depends on your system, depends on how much you need. Someone had a really good statement. Philly just said, Apex is still working for me, no sense to convert to Hydros. That's how I look at it too. If you have an Apex system and it's working great for you, why go out and spend the money on a Hydros? I just don't see the point. Just like I don't see the point in getting a Skylight, right? If you have an Ecotech, let's say Gen 4 even a Gen
Right.
3, and it's working great for you, why go and get a Sky, right? Or why even get a Gen 5? I just don't see the point. That's just my opinion. Other than maybe, of course, the Gen 5 has the Wi-Fi and has more control and some other things, but
I don't see
um,
why I get a Gen 5 or a Gen 4. I mean, Gen 4 is cheaper, it works just as good. I don't understand
right.
that argument at all. I got the
Uh,
Hydra 32s. I got 6 of those, and I did like a DIY LED thing. I don't think I've ever shown you before. I
mm,
basically made this LED thing up in my hood, and it connects to a Meanwhile driver and connects to a VDM, and it ramps up and down, and
that's awesome.
it's
That,
awesome.
that's
It's
kind of
very
what I'm
cool.
doing with my stunners and my. I have the same thing. A Meanwell hooked up to a V outlet for my stunners in my big tank.
Yeah, and then
Um,
I have it all around my Hydra 32s, so it just gives it an extra pop. And I just ordered some UV LEDs and some like 420 wavelengths from Rapid LED and just wired it all up.
oh,
And it just
nice.
gives it like basically a Reef Bright pop
Hmm.
at a fraction of the cost that I can control with Apex.
Hmm. But yeah, it's like I see the fascination with the Hydros. I really do. And that's why I haven't really said anything bad about it, with the exception of the Wi-Fi power strips. And I'm going to continue to say that. And I'll have a lot of people come back at me with this. They work just fine. Well, they work just fine now. I don't know. I've been working with Wi-Fi my whole life, and I know that if I had a return pump on a Wi-Fi strip, I'd be scared to leave the house for a week. I can tell you right now, I will be scared to leave the house. The XP8 that's coming out is going to be a game changer. It really is, because then they're no longer using the Wi-Fi strip. They have a controller it's built into its own system with its own outlets, so that those fallbacks are going to work properly, right? So, but that's always going to be my gripe about Hydros is going to be the Wi-Fi bars. Just like with Apex, my gripe is with their flow sensors, right? I don't like their flow sensors. I think all
Why
of my
not?
flow sensors say
I have
0
two
right
and a
now.
half inches. I have 2.5 inch ones, and they work great. The reviews on the what is it? A 2 inch and a 1 inch. What else do they have?
1, 2, quarter, half.
So I have a
Yes.
quarter. No, yeah, I think I have a quarter and a half. I have two halves, and they work great.
So
I love the halves.
I have an inch. I have 5 inch flow meters, and I would say every 6 months they go to 0, and I have to go in there and clean them out, and then they start working again. Um,
Maybe you just got a dirty tank. Maybe you just need to step up your reefing game.
is that right? Well, the
Yeah.
problem is, um, I think that a lot of stuff that Neptune makes is very good product, and I think it's high quality. A lot of people yell at me, it's plastic, blah blah blah. I'm like, I've been working with their product for so long, and I can't think of really any devices I've had any issues with other than um, the flow sensors. Yeah, I see all the silly comments too. I knew that was coming.
Hey, Scuba John, I have it in the garage right now. It's a nightmare to even show it. Hey, can you show a picture of the one I sent you? Or can you not?
It's
From Chattanooga?
yes. I don't want to crash the stream again. I'm not touching
Okay.
anything. But no, it wasn't working
Um,
earlier. I'm gonna have to
but
work
I
on
did
it.
want to say to Scuba John, I think he's a Hydros guy, and I'm not trying to rip on Hydros. I don't care. I also don't know anything about Hydros. I'm just saying, from my point of view, I'm already in the Apex ecosystem, and I just don't see the draw for me to switch or for me to even get that in the future because I'm already, and it's almost like a fault. I'm already like stuck with Apex now,
Mm-hmm.
so I have no,
So
you know.
Aaron's aquaculture brought up a good point. This did happen to me. I do want to state this, and I think I mentioned this in one of my streams. My Apex did crash, and what happened to it was the programming just reset, and then I had a flood here. And I mentioned this in the stream. It sucked. It sucked ass. I replaced the brain. Everything's been great. There you go, Aaron. You're right. That did happen. Um,
Alan Prala has a good point saying iPhone versus Android. I mean, it pretty much is at this point.
yeah, and there's the bias again. I own an iPhone,
Right.
right? Does that mean I hate Android phones? Absolutely not. But I own an iPhone, so I know how to use an iPhone. Do I know how to use an Android phone? Not really. I've never really used one. But I know lots of people that love it. It's kind of the same conversation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good analogy there, Alan. Someone had a
Mm-hmm.
good thing. DJ Mike Fury, what do you think of the announcement of CoralView invested to make their own boards in house? I think that's flippin' awesome. I think the more that these companies can make their own products and not have to go, out of the country is great. I really think it's a great move. It just shows that they're really invested with their product, which is really good also. Now, it would be nice if Apex would make some TDS meters and these other things that I've been asking for I don't know
Why
how
do you
many
want a
years.
TDS meter? I always hear you say that. Why would you want it? What's the point of having that? It makes like, why would you want a TDS meter?
It's very simple. Do you have an RO system in your house?
Yes.
And do you change out filters on it?
Yes.
How?
When my inline TDS meter tells me to, I don't need to do a manual dipstick one. I got an inline one that tells me everything.
Okay. So, how do you know when your TDS? Do you go in the garage or wherever you are, you push the little button and it tells you, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm making 100 gallons a
But
week.
hold on, before you say that, do you have to go and turn your TDS meters? I mean, your water on and off anyway.
It's all automatic. It's
But what
100%
I'm saying is,
automatic.
like, do you have to change anything about your RO system anyway?
Well, yeah, I have to change the filters when they're.
Well, look at your TDS meter when you do that. There you go.
I'd rather not change the filter until I need to.
And
I'd rather it
I'd
alert
rather
me.
not Apex work on a TDS meter when they can work on something better, like a calcium reactor part or something like that.
I make tons of water. Okay, I have my reptile room uses the water. I have 2 ATOs. I have 2 reef bots. I have my calc dripper. They're all coming from the same RO unit. So I use a ton of water, right? And I go through filters like you would never believe. I go through filters. I probably have to replace them every 2 weeks. I mean, that's how fast I go through my filters. To know when the TDS is creeping or getting high, it would be a game changer for me. I can tell you that the fact that I put the TDS meters on the hydros is awesome. I mean, it tells me now when I need to change out my filters. Now, again, all my stuff is my garage, right? I'm not, and it's in a corner where I don't go every day. So the fact that it will tell me when I need to replace them, I think is huge. I just think it's
Yeah,
huge.
but I just don't want them working on some bull crap that I have no benefit to use. I don't want them to work on something
Well,
I
you
could use.
don't. What do you want them to work
Yeah,
on?
well, no one else who's gonna use a dang TDO meter.
All right, guys. All right, let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. How many people
I'd much rather see another skimmer than a TDS meter.
a skimmer? There's too many
Another
skimmers.
skimmer.
Oh,
That's
my
what I'm
goodness.
saying, and that's how much I'd rather see it than a TDS meter.
Oh, you're nuts.
I'd actually like to see a carbon doser version. Neptune system carbon doser. That'd be awesome.
The average reefer wouldn't give a rat's. That's true, Rob, but Neptune isn't for the average reefer most of the time. Where do I do this? I gotta go here, then I gotta go all this stuff.
See, Mark S. Rather see something
We're
else
gonna do
besides TDS.
no. We're gonna do a,
That's where I am too.
we're gonna do
Mark S.
we're gonna do a flipping poll. Don't listen to any of these people. We're gonna do an actual poll. I can learn how to do it. You have to go to this other screen to do it, unfortunately.
I'd rather see a nitrate and phosphate part of the trident's what I want to see. Just like Billy D and J Fusion say.
I don't know why it makes me go to my own video to make a poll. All right, there's the poll. Hopefully it worked. Let's see. Man, Sean, I'm gonna have to,
look at that.
dude. Sean, I'm gonna have to boot you, man, if you continue this. I'm not kidding. I don't know who this Sean guy is, but he's reminding me of Glenn's long lost brother.
What'd Sean say?
I'm not saying it on the stream. Okay, we got the poll going. A lot of no's, huh? A lot of no's, I think. I don't know if this poll's right. Anyway. What are we voting on? Whether or not TDS meters should be made by Neptune. All right, so drill me some more. What other? You said I'm biased. Now, what else would you like to tell the community about me?
How come we never see your reef tank?
I show my reef tank about every 6 months. I have a video.
Well, why does it suck?
Why does it suck? Really? Is that your question? All right, next.
How come you can't grow coral?
What are you talking about, man? These are great questions. Next.
Let's take some questions from chat. I'd love for someone to ask some good questions in chat.
All right. All the no's are noobs. Poll's never right when you don't get the.
My phone, and I can just show it to the camera.
Yeah, unfortunately, man, I tried to put pictures up the other day and it was not working too. I don't know. Stupid camera. At this point, seeing Hydros and Apex, which company do you have more confidence to react to customers' wants or needs? That's a really good question, Mike. Um, I'm gonna say Hydros right now, and I'm gonna say that because they're new. I think once they've been around for 10, 15 years, I feel that they won't, if and I believe they will sell a ton of them and do very well. I think the customers' needs will kind of no longer be there, and they'll more focus on, making money at that point.
All they got
So
to do now is look at Neptune Systems and see what they're doing and copy their best sellers. All they got to do right now.
yeah, and I believe, I hope Neptune is always working on stuff that just takes them a lot longer to release it. I believe, I'm hoping. I don't know for that for a fact, but that's my thought.
Hey, Tim asked, "What's the minimum price of entry to the hobby?" That's a good question.
Where is that one? The minimum price of entry. Wow. I will tell you, I think maybe Glenn will disagree with me. I think a
I
bigger
will.
tank,
Don't worry.
I think a bigger tank to start is better than a smaller tank to start. Um, I've always felt that way. So I think like a 55, even a 40 breeder is actually a pretty decent tank, but I think like a 55 is a better tank to start with. Um, so what do you think? Like a 55 gallon, rocks,
The problem
filters,
with
the whole
the problem with the
nine?
55 is that it's too tall and too narrow.
Yeah. But again, for a
A 40
first
breeder is
tank
best
for
for like
someone, yeah, I
40
guess, I
breeder.
mean,
I think.
40 breeder was my first tank too, so I think bigger is always better. But let's just go with a 40
I
breeder
think.
because I agree with you.
I think. I think two 40 breeders drill it, one to make a sump and keep a sump as a 40 breeder and your display as a 40 breeder. And then you can just use two lights and you can use the same lights later if you have a 90.
Okay.
But I also think that there are so many shortcuts that you can take in reefing. You can make any single part of it what you want to make it. You can make it super expensive. You can make it super cheap. You can DIY everything,
Hmm.
or you can go balls out on everything. It just depends on
So
what
if
you
we
want
were
to do. I
to
mean,
so if we were to throw a price at it, I'm going to guess if we don't buy
hold on,
coral,
hold on, hold on. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
but you got to make some stipulations. No fish, no coral, or what? What are you saying?
no fish, no coral, just to start up the tank. I'm going to say $500, just to
I
start up
think you
a
could do it.
40-gallon breeder
Yeah,
with some
I think that's.
basic
I think
LEDs.
definitely less than that, but for sure 500 is a good start, especially if you get enough rock and if you get a skimmer and all that
Hmm.
and a
Yeah,
return pump.
yeah, I would
Because
say.
people get so caught up on the Jabos, they're terrible, and why would you ever do that? You should always buy a Ecotech. I got 8 Jabos, 0 Ecotechs, and I've had 0 Jabos die. So why would I buy Ecotech?
I have a
I know
J-Bow on
people
my
are like, well,
Nano.
I've had so many Jabos and just just my Ecotechs never died. Yeah, but there's so many people who have had cheap Jabos that work. It's hard to even argue against it.
Hmm. Yeah, I have a J-Bow in my Nano. Actually, Aaron's Aquaculture gave it to me. Works great. Works great. No problem.
Philly Reaper says $300 with Jabo and Vivo Spectra. I agree.
Yeah.
I bought both of my little uh, over my 55-gallon tank. I bought both my lights for $110, and they worked great. I
Yeah.
grew acros and everything.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think $500 just because you're gonna need a good skimmer. You're gonna need, a decent mechanical filter of some sort. I think. And skimmers aren't
What
cheap.
sucks? Skimmers can be cheap. Bubble magnets, those are pretty cheap.
Yeah, but what are we
Or just
talking
go on
cheap?
your dang local. Dude, I've given away so much stuff like that. I mean, I got a 50
Okay,
gallon
let's
lowboy in the
let's
back of my
let's
truck right now. I
let's
will give away
rewind.
for free. If anyone
Okay,
in Huntsville wants it, I'll give it to you. It's in my
let's
truck right
let's
now. Please come take
rewind.
it.
Let's rewind. The stipulation that I'm going to add is no used product. Has to be
Okay,
all
fine.
new.
Bubble Magnus.
No, Bolt Megas pumps are skimmers are fantastic, but I still think they're expensive. If you need, or I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to say. I still think that they can take a chunk out of that $500. That's all I'm saying. Um, they're what $100, right? So that's $100 out of your budget. That's all I'm
And then
saying.
$80 for $80 for two 40-gallon breeders. What do those cost now? $50?
I don't know how much 40-gallon breeders cost.
They used to cost $40, but I think that Petco has changed the rules on that sale.
Yeah, I guess you can make your own sump. That's true, if you're handy. Return pumps. What are we talking for a good return pump? $75 for a
Depends on if you
40-gallon
get
breeder.
Amazon, and it can take much.
Who am I giving a boot to? Is we still having some issue with people in the stream? Man, this doesn't happen. Glenn, you bring the best.
Who's giving you issues?
I don't know. I wish my my I don't know 4 mods that are in here would do something about it. What do I pay them for anyways?
Yeah, Alex is saying exactly what I would do. But I think that, golly, I think you get all that for under 500.
But see, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if you buy all new, I still think you're going to be around 500. I really do, after all said and done.
So the main question is, what of that can you use on your next system when you upgrade? That's the main thing to think about.
That's a really good comment. Because you're right.
Because
most people are going to upgrade.
If you do use, instead of a 40-gallon breeder as a sump, and you use a 20-gallon long as a sump, now you got your quarantine tank.
True. What are they getting paid? Well, Mark, maybe you're not getting paid, but you got to come talk to me, and we'll talk about your pay, because no one's doing their job. Anyway. All right, Glenn, what else? What else do you want to grill me about? You said you had a list of stuff to grill me on. Been waiting to come on to grill me.
Some of this stuff I have to wait till afterwards, because I don't
afterwards.
Dude, some of this.
Not.
I don't know. I ain't got nothing.
Oh well. He's all bite, guys. No bark, right? Bite, no bark. I don't know. I'm saying that wrong. Let's see. I'm looking if there's any other questions here. So Glenn is picking the prize tonight, guys. Glenn,
here's a question: How come you have the same microphone as the guy who has the slap chop?
What?
The guy who has the slap chop commercial?
Because this microphone is awesome.
Dude.
No one on the stream. No one on the stream. No one on the stream can say my microphone isn't crystal clear and they can hear me perfectly.
Look like you're selling ShamWow.
Well, maybe I am selling ShamWow. Did you ever think about that?
Probably better to do that than what your day job.
So I used So I used to have one of those mics, which I think you have there, and I don't know, it just looked funky to me. I don't know. It's Vince from Slap Chop.
There you go.
Glenn has a far better camera. Okay, guys. Well, mine doesn't. Mine cuts out every 2 seconds.
How come you lean back in your chair like you're a pimp?
I do not lean. I do not lean back in my chair.
Leaning forward in anticipation of what's to come from
the chair. Guest. Look, the chair is not leaning back at all. At all. Look.
Okay.
Look.
Okay.
See? I can't.
How come your arms are so hairy?
Well,
look how hairy your arms are. When you put your hands in a fish tank, your skimmer must go crazy. Look at them arms.
Well, I can't help that either. Oh, don't say that name on my channel. Let's see. Pimpin' Ain't Easy. So you've been watching me for a while, huh? How long you been watching me for?
Probably. I got super into reefing probably 4 years ago, and I probably found you around then. So there's a ton of YouTubers who are reefing people who I can't stand.
Me too.
And I won't get into specifics about who they are, but I would say most of them suck big time. I I would say someone who is super underrated for a new reefer, and I say new reefer because the farther you get into it, you kind of get out of his realm, is Travis. Travis from Fish of Hex. I
Yeah.
think his new reefing stuff is spot on. I think he knows exactly. I think he can. Yeah, he's good. Some of the stuff though, it's probably I don't know. Sometimes he could do a little bit more CE on stuff,
Yeah.
but for new people,
Oh my
he
goodness.
is.
This love face just keeps coming back. Holy
And
cow.
the bulk resupply stuff. Again, I think the new series that they're doing, where they're going back over the 52 reefs weeks of reefing, I think that's going to be really beneficial. And I think that they need to go and take down the 52 weeks because it's so outdated. And that was 5 years ago. I mean, it's
Right.
crazy how time just changes everything.
You're right. You're
And
absolutely
that's
right.
pretty much what got me into it. Is just that series of videos, and now they're outdated already. I mean, it's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, I watched when I kind of started looking into doing YouTube. I did look into Fish of Hex, obviously Devin. Um, there's a couple other guys I tried to. I don't know if mimic's the right word, but I tried to kind of learn some things from them and how to do this. Um, I love doing live streams. I gotta be honest with you. I love doing live streams, making videos, editing all the videos. It takes a lot of time. Also coming up with ideas. But live streams are so much better because people get to see my personality. They get to see me talking to people about things I love to talk about. And that's I think where some of the YouTubers don't do as well because they don't have live streams. Or not do as well. That's not the right word I'm looking for. The ones I'm not as interested in.
Yeah, the ones that grab your attention less.
Yeah, yeah, that's a better way of
Yeah.
saying it. Yeah. Um, People are saying who they like and who they don't like, and it's fun. Um, I've been trying, guys. I've been
Travis
trying
got
to.
to reset his videos. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means
I wonder
either.
when that was because I know he had some problem with that like 6 months ago. But
Yeah, I've been trying to have Telegram on. He won't respond to me, so guys, I don't think he'll ever be on if you like him. So, unfortunately.
well, I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Sean's back. But yeah, I'm always curious because
I've seen Sean's tank. Sean's got a nano that's freaking pimp. I wonder how he's doing that. I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, he's got
But
a
Glenn
nice
has
nano.
apparently Kelly says you have really small feet. So there you go.
Mm.
Look at that lip line. He's pissed. Oh my goodness. Who are these
I
people you
think I
brought
know.
here?
I think I know who
You
Kelly
know
is.
who these people are.
I don't think Kelly is Kelly. I think I know who Kelly is.
You know these people. Um, yeah, I'm always curious because I started this. It's not been that long actually. It's been I think a year and a half almost, or actually it's almost 2 years because I started it in February, and we're almost at February. So it wasn't February last year; it was February before that. Um, and It was actually Aaron's Aquaculture, the guy he's one of my good friends on here, and he started the Facebook group with me also, and he said, you should really teach people how to program Neptune. No one knows how to do it. I'm like, all right. So I started making these little tutorials, right? And I was like, wow, no one in this hobby is making Neptune tutorials on YouTube. Not a single person. I looked
Yeah,
all over for them. And that's kind
that's
of
what
how I
got me
got it
into it.
started. And that's
That's
how
what
I
got
got it
me
started,
into seeing your videos
Yeah.
because I was getting so frustrated with the icons that I couldn't figure it out when I first got it, and I was just. I mean, I go to YouTube for everything,
Mhm.
so that's
Well, I'm
just
glad.
as soon
I'm
as I.
really, I'm humbled and I'm glad that it helped you because I really didn't know if it would help people. I really didn't. And then it started becoming other things, and now I'm trying to have other people on, and you know, um, and now I'm starting to do hydros videos and everything. So it's been fun, and I'm really glad that you watch. I really am. I'm glad that people watch me. I'm glad that people enjoy what they're watching, and I'm glad that people laugh because I like to have
Dude,
fun on my
Aaron's
streams.
aquaculture. I've always seen him around, like as moderators for like he probably is even a moderator for like Devin as well. But he has a really good point. There's so many infomercial YouTubers now. That's so true. Even I feel like BRS is doing that too. I mean,
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like
BRS is
there's
definitely doing it.
so many commercials now. It just makes me just crazy. The whole, I mean, they're so big. I'm sure. Who cares if I say anything bad about them? But the whole Al, whatever his name is, Al something.
I
Who
don't
I'm
know.
talking about? I think he's like some Al, whatever his name is. He does like a commercial every week. It's crazy.
Well, you'll never, guys, and you know this, Glenn. You'll never see me, like paid promotions on my channel. I don't get
Yeah, right.
sponsored by
You were
anybody.
telling me before we started how much Apex paid you to talk about their products. Right before we started, you were telling me that. Remember?
Oh yeah, I make a salary from it. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that's, it's one of those things that you gotta just you gotta keep to your guns. That's all I can say. You'll never see me do that, and I'm never going to do it because that's not what this channel is about. It's not about selling stuff. Even though I made my own store because people asked me, is like, maybe you should sell this stuff so you can support people. And honestly, if you really want me to be honest with you and people watching, uh, I think the small business and the local fish stores need support because bulk reef supply is taking over. So the
Well,
fact that I
I talked about
started,
this when Terrence was on your stream. When Terrence was on, I was telling you the problem with the local fish stores is either their equipment and stuff is extremely expensive or their fish are.
mhm,
And I mean, you can go online and get the best of both worlds.
yeah, and that's the thing is I started my store because I wanted to make a little extra money, because I just wanted to have another job essentially. And then bulk reef started taking over. Let's be honest, guys, they're taking over, and I think it's even more important that I have this little store for people that they can come to where they're going to get support, they're going to get someone hands on, you know. So I'm happy that I started my store. I really am. The
Scuba John
stream,
wants us to shut up and pick somebody.
I know he does. I'm not best friends with Terrence. I barely ever talk to Terrence, guys. Yeah, it makes me already. That's pretty funny, Lucas. Uh, I will never
I mean,
take a paid ad.
I'm all for a bulk reef takeover. I mean, I think if the market allows it, then go for it. I don't think. I mean, I don't think it'll happen though. There's just too many independent people who'll make something that's just as good, especially if they start trying to jack prices up.
Listen, I've
Just
been
for
trying
your
to get
mall.
product. I've been trying to get product for my customers, right? And I can't because someone is taking all the stock of that product. That's what's happening. I hate to say
Yeah,
it, but
China.
that's what's happening. Yeah, China. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me started on that.
All right, what is the giveaway today? You were supposed to pick.
Okay. Look at this. And Sean sign Clark gave $5, and you were saying how he was hating earlier.
Yeah, way to go, Sean, man. Thank you so much.
That dude must be rich. Yeah, Alex has a good point. All right, let's go for Amazon.
You want me to give out an Amazon gift card?
Got to compete with bulk resupply.
So let me understand this. The giveaway is an Amazon gift card. I want to understand that. Is that right? God, Love Face is back. What's up with this Love Face? Why does Love Face keep coming back?
Hold on, that guy. Hold on, Luftface said that girls will do what I say. Oh dang! All right, we can do your. You can do your store. I don't care.
No, you got to pick, man. It's up to you. It's not up to me. How much money you want to give? You want me to give away?
$1,000.
Nope, that's not happening. That's not happening right now. Love Face needs
I don't care.
love. Yeah.
Just
All right, we're gonna
do
give
it to your
a
store.
we're gonna give $100 gift card to my store, guys, because Glenn was supposed to think about this the whole stream, and obviously it got away from us. All right, we're gonna give $100 away to the winner, which is going to be. Let's see. Close entries. Why isn't it not letting me
Look
pick
at
a
Joey
winner?
Savoy. You should have Glenn back on more often. He's a good fit, funny cat. He's awesome, and he's a great reefer. That's what Joe just said. So I agree.
Joe, you're getting banned. You're getting banned. Bye, Joe. Lovelace wins. Oh, okay. Pick a
Look,
winner.
have me back on whenever I get my garage tank done.
The real question, folks, is Glenn. Do you want Glenn on more than you want my other buddy Aaron, Desert Reefer, back on? That's the real question here.
Dude, Batfish Killer?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody want that dude back on here.
He was supposed to be on last week, and he didn't show up.
Somebody asked for here's a picture of my tank as of like 30 minutes ago in my garage. Oh, it's gonna be impossible to see.
Yeah, I see a big boot. Derek, give Aaron and Glenn. Yeah, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. All right, folks, the contest is all effed up again, so you're gonna have to re-enter. Hey, I said effed up, Glenn, before you did.
Hey, look. Adam Content. He asked if I was just a guest. You see, that's how awesome I am. You know what I'm saying?
So start your own YouTube, man. I think this is so easy.
If I started my own YouTube, you could say bye-bye to yours because it would be going downhill. All these people would come to my channel and they would see. I mean, peace out to yours.
All right, go ahead and re-enter, guys, into your contest. I apologize. It was just, I think when we had that stream interrupt, it killed the contest, unfortunately.
Do you think when I start my channel, do you think you'll quit? Is that what will happen with your channel?
So, can you tell everybody again how you know Apex and how to program it?
Yeah, I was watching Bulk Resupply, and Randy, he read the entire manual when he was overseas doing something as he always wants to tell everybody.
Oh, is that right?
I didn't even have an Apex, and I read the entire manual. How many times y'all heard that? Good God.
Well, if you can train people on Apex, you can take over my channel. How about that?
Glenn would take your channel to the next level.
Yeah. Man, I have a lot of people that I thought loved me that apparently don't love me anymore since now you're here.
The problem is you're just not entertaining, and I bring that to the table. And you're welcome.
I'm not entertaining, huh? Well, we better get Lovelace back in here then, if you want some entertainment.
You and your ShamWow microphone. Look at my setup. You see how clean this is?
What are you talking about?
This right here behind me, that's my tank.
All right, guys, you ready to see the real magic that Glenn has here? Here we go. There's that magic green screen on back there.
Oh, you want to do that, huh? You want?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a great idea.
Okay, I can't wait to see this great idea. I'm still waiting. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay, guys, we got 28 entries. This is the last call. One more minute, and I'm going to pull a winner. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah, that's way better, dude. That's so much better. Oh, my goodness. This is what you guys are going to experience if you have Glenn running the streams.
Hey, zoom me out right now. Zoom me out.
I did. He's in the tank. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Can we please put Glenn full screen trying to locate his lips? What is this lips thing that people keep talking about? What do people say? You don't have lips?
I don't have lips. Probably
Oh, is that
talking about
right?
my. Mm-hmm.
That mic is legit. Yeah, it's just a mic. I can go get that mic if I really wanted to, but I like being a ShamWow salesman. That's how I'm gonna do things. And if you don't like it, then don't watch my stream. Watch Glenn's stream. You can watch his stream with his silly mic, and you can watch mine.
Hey, look, when I start my stream, you can say bye to your career.
Okay. All right, guys. $100 gift card is going to someone right now. Yeah. So what did the poll end up? I never saw. What did the poll end up? I think it was about even. All right. Close entries. Here we go, guys. Oh my God. Guess who the winner is?
Yes.
I don't even know who this guy is.
So awesome. Dude, he's got a sick nano.
Good. Well, hopefully he uses this $100 gift card to something. So Sean Sinclair, you have to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram with your information, and I will email you a gift card. That's how it works.
Yeah, and he gave you a $5 super chat, so I mean, it's really what he deserves.
Yeah. Look at that. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, Scuba John, you're right. He has to be a subscriber to win.
I think he subbed. Now Derek has to unblock you to pay you.
No, he's still on here. I wouldn't block people. I only blocked Lovelace. Lovelace was driving me crazy. Oh,
Congrats, Sean. That's awesome.
We lost your green. All right, whatever. All right, do we have any final questions for Glenn? It's getting a little late for some people.
I got some Halo to play.
Cool. So yeah, let us know. Let me know on Instagram or Facebook, Sean, how to get a hold of you so you can get your gift card. Anybody else have any follow-up questions before we go? When you coming back, Glenn? Glenn's gonna come back when he has his.
What is that? In my
that's
screen.
you,
what
man.
Is that? No, what's that black thing? Dude, that's a UFO.
Oh my God.
That's a UFO. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Dude, they're real.
Glenn will be back, guys, when he has his tank set up so he can show us his wonderful tank that he wasn't able to show us today. And I got a great guest coming next week, so hopefully you guys watch next week. It won't be Glenn because I already got a guest for next week. So all you people think he's just going to take over. It's not going to happen.
Every week, Marcus says. Look at that.
Every week. They love you, man.
Whenever you need help, I'm happy to help you because you need it.
Oh,
and
boy.
I'm here for you.
All right, guys. Yeah, I've been trying to get Carlos on. Hopefully I can get him on too from Hydros or Coral View. So, all right, guys. Hope you have a great evening. Again, thank you, Glenn. It was a ton of fun. I hope people learned something tonight. And, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, see you guys.
All right. See ya.